Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks so much for joining me today. We're going to be making the cutest little Christmas tags and matching cards today with Stampin' Up's Festive Friends Bundle. So can't wait to share that with you. My name is Loritamarie from Loritamarie Crafts, and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Calgary, Alberta. And I like to come here live so I can share fun tips, techniques, ideas, inspiration with you to help you take your paper crafting supplies to turn them into beautiful and fun projects. So one way that I'm doing that is I just wanted to mention, if you missed my video last week, I think it was last week. Time is flying by, right? I made these super cute little Christmas gift card holders. So check out that video. And these are my free class of the month if you place an order with me. So you'll get all the supplies to make these cute cards. So you can check that out. My goal is always to help you get creative. And so if I can make it easier for you to get in your craft room, to have a class, to get you making cards, that's what I love to do. And so I also have my Christmas stamp stack open for registration. I'm just going to pop this like little QR code on here. And you can sign up for my Christmas stamp stack until the end of today. It's already the deadline to sign up. I actually have 2 blocks this year. If you're in person in Calgary, Friday or Saturday on the 17th and 18th, or you can get a kit to go anywhere in Canada, or if you just want the instructions on how to make the cards, anyone can grab the tutorial. And I'm going to show you the cards because they're so cute, fun. So we're going to make 4 different Christmas cards, and you can choose. So you can make 8 cards, 12 cards, 16 cards. So it's really kind of whatever you want, and you can have them ready to hand out by Christmas. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can mail them out. But if not, you can pass them out to people you know in person. And it's like that's just like a fun way to make multiples ahead of like the rush of Christmas. So I like to make my Christmas cards a little earlier if I can, through these classes. Otherwise, I'd be like probably everyone else, and it's like December, and you're like, oh no, I didn't make anything. Now we're too busy. So it's good to get this stuff kind of out of the way before life gets a little hectic. So be sure that you sign up, and I'd love to have you there in person for sure. We'll have a lot of fun together, or you can always grab a kit to go or the tutorial. So that's that. And then the other thing I'll just quickly mention is that, obviously I'm using Stampin' Up stuff. And if you love Stampin' Up at all, I'm just going to put the second QR code up here, is that there's a great starter kit right now. If you love Stampin' Up at all, if you just want a discount on the products, like why not get 20% off on everything you buy if you're buying Stampin' Up anyway? And so that's a great thing. You can even choose some of the new stuff that just came out. There's a pre-order right now for November online exclusives. Stampin' Up's just fun. I joined up on a total whim in 2014. Like one day I was just like, I'm gonna sign up for Stampin' Up. I didn't even like know anyone, anything. It was kind of funny. But I've never looked back. It was so much fun. And you can be as simple as you want. It's just for you. You just have fun with the discount, or you can just keep growing and turn it into whatever you want. That's kind of what I like about it. So you can check that out. There's 2 offers. One, like you spend less, and one you can spend the regular amount and get more products. So it kind of just depends which one you want. And you can always ask me any questions. I'm here to help if you need me. And that's all. So I just wanted to mention that because it's such an awesome deal. I don't want you to miss out on it. And I think that's all the chit chat. So you can always find stuff about my classes online at loritamariecrafts.ca. Okay, let's get down to the craft desk, and I'll move these out of the way. So I am so excited about this bundle. I always love the cute ones. And so today we're going to play with this and make some super fun tags and then some matching cards, because I was like, you know what, why not make matching cards to go with it? So this is a bundle, and you obviously it's one that we can color. So we're going to do some coloring today. So you've got the cute little elf, Santa, snowman, some little sentiments, and a couple images. Then you've got all the dies to go with. So cut out all those things with the little guys. And then you've got the tags, which we're going to use. Let me just show you. Well, I'll show you in a second. This is like a little label piece. And then there's 2 little trees that I'm actually not going to use today. So I'm just going to show you what they look like cut out. So this is what the trees look like. So kind of 2 totally different looks, but they look kind of fun, kind of matched up together. And then you've got like all these little snowflakes. And I'm going to show you what they look like cut out. And so here they all are cut out, and some of them are bigger than others. the ones that are small, so that's like this one or like this guy where it cuts out all these teeny tiny, these actually look really good as a cutout as opposed to using the pieces. So let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna grab just my scrap here. But you can see they just like cut out, right? And then so you could use that on your card instead of using the teeny tiny things that come out, which is obviously going to be really hard to do. So you could use those on your cards. You could use them as a little stencil. Here's a card I made a few weeks ago, and I used it as a stencil and used a blending brush and then created a background with the snowflakes. So a couple ways to use the snowflake dies. And now we're going to get into everything else and get crafting. So first thing we're going to do is some coloring. Let me show you the supplies. So we've got that, my color scheme for today. So I thought, how do I make this simple and easy so that it doesn't feel a little overwhelming? Sometimes coloring can seem like it's overwhelming, so I wanted to make it super simple. So my color scheme today is Shaded Spruce, Real Red, and Pool Party. So that's basically what I'm using for everything. So that's the cardstock I'm using, the ink pads I'm using, and the blends, Stampin' Blends, alcohol markers that I'll be using as well. And then I'm not using any designer series paper. We'll just be stamping and coloring today. And then, you know what looks really great with this stuff is a couple holdovers from last year, which are some of my favorite Christmas products, is this Real Red and White Baker's Twine, and then the super cute peppermints. I love these. Okay. So let's start with our coloring. So we're going to ink up each of our little characters here, and then I'm going to show you how to color them easily. And then we'll make our 3 little coordinating tags. Oops. And then I'll show you how to turn those 3 tags, or the idea from the 3 tags, into 3 coordinating cards as well. So I'm using our Memento Black, Tuxedo Black ink. And sometimes I find it easier to do this way. So have your stamp facing up and then tap with the black, and then you can make sure that you have good coverage. There's our little elf. Aren't these the cutest? And Santa. I love the look of these guys. They're so fun. Okay. And see if I can fit them all on the same piece of paper here. All right. So we got that. Put the lid on my ink pad here. And then we're going to have some fun coloring before we put everything together. So let's start with the snowman. And so I've got Pool Party, like I said, Shaded Spruce, Real Red. And I'm also sneaking in a little bit of pumpkin pie for his little carrot nose. So there's always a light and dark with the blends. They come in almost every single color. And there's a bullet tip end and a brush tip end. And so I've used the light first, then the dark. The nose is small, so that's all we're going to do there. And blending or coloring can be as fussy or as simple as you want it to be. And I think that's what I love the most about the blends is that, let's say you're just starting out and you're not really sure how to use alcohol markers, then just color how you would normally color. And you're going to love how they just go on so easy. There's no like streaky marks like in regular markers. And the color just blends seamlessly. I typically, in something small like this, I'm just starting with the light and then I'll add a little dark just as a little detail. And I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see how it looks too. Seem like I'm a bit far away today. And then you can go back over with the light to kind of blend it out again. Then for his little toque, so that's his little scarf, I'm going to do stripes with the thing. So we'll do red on the first one. And I'm not going to be too fussy coloring today, just otherwise you're going to be watching me color all day, and that's not going to be that much fun for you. So, so I just want to add a little bit of the dark so that it doesn't look flat. And then we'll quickly go back. And then whether you want the brush tip end or the felt tip end, that's up to you. Okay, then I'm going to use Pool Party. And I'm just going to use the dark Pool Party. And we'll color his little pom-pom. And then color in the stripes. And so if you're just using the one color to create some depth, they're called blends because you can keep going back over it, right? So I can keep adding a little bit of color, say to one side. And then a big part here, I can start on each side and then just keep drawing the color in. And the ink just kind of like pulls. And so then it'll be the darkest on the outside and the lightest in the middle. So that might not all show up on camera, but it kind of gives it some depth when you're coloring. And then I thought with the snowman, I'm gonna use the light Pool Party, and just because it's a, like pretty stark white, obviously, because he's snow, then I'm going to just add a little bit of the light Pool Party just in a few places, just to give some dimension to him. Like the snow was reflecting, you know, the blue. We have had a beautiful fall here in Calgary with no snow, but I think this weekend is Thanksgiving, and I think it's going to snow this weekend, which is sad. I'm not ready for snow at all. Look how cute he is. Oh, and then the last piece, you can layer up with some colors, but Shaded Spruce on Pool Party works. And I'm just going to use the bullet tip end, and I'm going to do, if you can see that, I'll bring it up. I'm just tapping little teeny tiny polka dots in a random pattern. And then it's not so like flat and boring. Isn't that cute? And you could add little stripes too, and you can give your own little pattern to it. So that's that guy. Next up, let's do our little elf. And I'm going to color his little jacket red. And so once we start putting the tags together, you're going to see how all these, like these three colors, I just keep repeating them over and over and everything. And it starts to layer up really nice. And then we'll color his toque. Then I'll go grab the dark red. I believe we had blends in Cherry Cobbler and Poppy Parade if you want some different reds. Real red's kind of the classic though, right? And I'll just add a little depth by going around. I am going a lot faster just because otherwise we'll be here all day. And then I'm going to use the dark to color in his little mitten and sleeve. And then I'll go back over and just blend that in with the lighter one again. Okay. So we'll do that. Then to bring in our green, our Shaded Spruce, we'll start with the light. And I'm going to color the pom-pom on the toque with the light just to give some contrast. You'll see on the tag. Otherwise, it gets a little lost. And then maybe I'll just use the brush tip end to go a little faster here. We'll do this part of the toque. And then we'll do the bottom of his little jacket. Sometimes it's crazy to think about Christmas stuff now, right? And even Christmas crafting. But it just sneaks up on you. It just sneaks up on you. I saw Christmas stuff at the store the other day, and I wasn't even sad about it. I was like, yep, it's time to start thinking about stuff. Okay, and then I'm going to color the little stripes on his sleeves here with this dark Shaded Spruce, his little button. And then I'm going to blend his hat again a little bit. Okay. Now, there is a set of blends called Bronze and Ivory. So I'm going to use the bronze for his little curly hair here. And I'll just go in like circles and color in his little hair. And I'm also going to use it to color in his boots. And then we can use the ivory for his face. So this is all I have, but there are skin tone blends. And so it starts with light, then medium and dark. So you can, anytime you're doing people or elves, you can have any skin tone. So there's all the variety. So that's good. I don't have any of them, to be honest. So I'm going to use the ivory and it's going to work pretty good. And then you can go back, even though it's just one, you can still layer on extra color. And so maybe I'll go kind of around his hairline, maybe down here a little bit, and then maybe his nose to stick out a bit. Okay. There's our little elf. And next up, Santa. So again, of course, we're going to need our red. So we'll color in his little jacket. And then this obviously takes the most time. So you can, I would say when you're coloring, just enjoy it. Like it doesn't have to be rushed. I'm going, like I said, really fast just for this video, but I find it relaxing. A lot of people I've heard, like you could stamp all the images, put it on a clipboard or something, and then just color while you're watching TV. So there's that. Lots of sports on in October. If you're a sports fan at all, in our house, we've been watching baseball because the Blue Jays are in the playoffs. And so we're all like pretend baseball fans for a few weeks here. So I could color while watching the baseball game. Or hockey started last night. So you can tell I'm Canadian, right? I guess Americans, you're watching football and stuff. We do watch football here too. But... Or if you're not into sports, put on your favorite show. My other favorite thing to watch is home shows or British TV shows. So I watch those on my own. I don't torture my husband with those. Okay, so that's basically it for Santa. Then the rest of him is pretty easy. We'll, just to bring in that green, just to tie in with our theme, I'm going to color his mittens in green. Then his face in that ivory again. And what color in his face? And don't forget his nose. And then maybe like a little bit under the mustache for his mouth. And oh, his boots. So there are black blends, I'm pretty sure. I don't have it. So I am going to just use my black Stampin' Right, which is a last chance product. They're moving on from all the Stampin' Right markers. So you could get this on sale, I believe. And I'm just using the brush tip end to color in his boot. But there are blends. And I would say don't be overwhelmed by Stampin' Blends. We all just start with a couple colors and you just work up from there. That's what I've done. I started with like yellow and green and then to color flowers. And then I just built up from there a little bit at a time. All right, there's our little Santa. Shannon says, go Flames, go. Yes. And they beat the Oilers last night. So that was awesome. That was a good kickoff to the season. All right, let's cut out our cute little guys here. So we got our snowman, Santa, and elf. So let's see how good of a job I do on video of cutting these guys out. Okay. Not bad. I always find my hands are a little shaky when I'm doing the video, so let's run this through. Sorry, it'll shake. There we go. Oh, did he move? No, I think we're okay. It's a good day when we beat the Oilers. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to lose all my Edmonton people, but so there's our cute little guys. So once you've got your little characters, they look, oh, they're so fun. I don't know. I was just so satisfied when I colored these the other day. I was like, I love these guys. So let's put our tags together. And so I wanted to create a background. So I'm putting the elf on the green, Santa on the red, and my snowman on the blue. And I wanted to be able to use all the images in our little stamp set. So we'll start with the green. And that's shaded spruce, of course. And we're just going to do tone on tone stamping to create a background because I'm not using any designer series paper. So we're going to create our own background. So I got this cute little tree. And then I'm just going to start anywhere, just kind of off to the side like that. And then we'll just go ahead and kind of try to create a random pattern on the rest. And I'm going to need a wipe to wipe off. Okay, so that's pretty good. I think I've got, I can tell here. And that's it. So that's that one. So just creating a random pattern there. So then on, I think I'm just making more of a mess with the paper towel. I should have got a white, I should have got my little chamois thing that goes with the mat. Let me get something. I'm making a mess. But I know I'm going to get green ink all over myself in a second. So let me just wipe all that. And it's shaking my camera. Sorry about that. All right. Then for this guy, we're going to use Pool Party and the little snowflakes. So then again, I'm just going to make a random pattern. And when it's something like this, like the snowflakes, I try to keep turning it so that it really does look random. Don't forget to go off the edge a little bit. Okay. So that's that one. And then for Santa, I was like, well, there's no other images, right? There's just that. So I'm going to have to grab my chamois. So I've got it tucked in here. One second. Excuse my arm there. So I thought I'll just use the Santa himself as the background. So we'll just clean him up a bit from the black. And then we'll use real red to ink up Santa. I think I'll just use some paper here. And we'll just create our random pattern with Santa. And then we have, let's see, focus in there. Then we've got our little background for him. Okay. So next up, we're going to create our tags. So this die here, I've cut out again in the same 3 colors. So just keeping with our color scheme. And so I'm going to put the green with this one, Pool Party, and then red. And I'm just going to grab my bone folder and kind of curl them a bit. So curl each one. Okay. And we'll grab some liquid glue. And then just kind of around where the opening is, I'm just going to dab, and you can see that, but I'm just dabbing a little bit of liquid glue around each one. And this is what's going to create like the tag part of this, like something for the string to go through. Okay. So we'll just line that guy up. hold it down for a second and then kind of like gently fold it over. So that's why I use the bone folder. I decided I didn't want like a super harsh fold line. Wanted it a bit more round. And then because it's liquid glue, hopefully I can, if I've got it crooked, which I totally do, you can move it a little bit to straighten it out. So let's get all these on. Okay, so there's the red one, and we'll put the pool party on this one. Okay. And now we got to get these little guys on. So let's grab some dimensionals. And then we're going to do our sentiments. And I'm going to use every sentiment too. And then I'll have used every image that comes with the stamp set. Okay. Just load them up. There we go. And I've got some, oh, that popped off. I didn't hold it long enough. Okay, so then we're going to stamp all the sentiments in Shaded Spruce, just because the darker green will just ground everything nicely. I always try to stamp in whatever the darkest color that I've been using. I just find that looks the best. And so we've got, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We've got Santa's coming to town. And we have a to and from. And then I'll just grab my paper snips because it's faster, but you could use your paper trimmer, and I'm just going to trim these to size to the sentiment. Let's grab that. And our to and from, just remember to give yourself a little room so that you can actually write some names on there. Okay. So let's start with our elf. And I'm going to use We Wish You a Merry Christmas for him, and I'm going to use dimensionals again. And so I'm going to put this on first, and then I can center the elf on top. Then for the snowman, I'm going to do flat because I didn't even use seal yet today. Here we go. You're going to have to write on it. So you don't want to use a dimensional for it. And then it's all puffy and hard to write on. So I'm just going to use seal for the to and from, and then put my snowman on. And then, of course, Santa's coming to town has to be with Santa. Just makes sense, right? So let's get Santa on. And then these are going to come to life with the peppermints. I'm going to tell you, they're so cute. So we'll put Santa on. Then we'll grab our little peppermints. And for each one, I'm going to grab the small one. Put one there. Medium. Large. There's 3 sizes. Small, medium, large. And then you don't have to worry about, where am I going to put these little peppermints? Same one every time. And then I'll just do one of the twine just because we're running out of time here, but just about however much you want, 8 to 10, 12 inches. And I will just simply loop it through our little tag piece. Meet it up at the top. And then tie a little knot. And just do that the same thing for all 3. And then you have your cute little tag. Aren't those fun? Those are 3 tags. I'll bring in my finished ones. They're the same. They just have the string on them. And then we have our little set. So this is all I was going to do, but then I figured like, okay, we're card makers too. So how do we turn these into cards? So I'm not going to have time to do them all from scratch, but I'll show you what I did. So first of all, for each one, I just have a thick basic white card base. And then I just used the same idea as a background, but I cut the cardstock. Okay, so the cardstock is each 3 3/4 by 5. And I do that because I like a nice wide white mat. So if you want your paper bigger, then you could do a standard 4 by 5 1/4. It's whatever you want. And then I just used the same technique for stamping. So I took the snowflake and then stamped a background all over it. To add a little texture, you could use a blending brush and like blend some color into the edges just to create some extra texture. So I did that. Then I chose a label piece for my little guy to sit on. And sometimes a label piece just helps you ground whatever you're putting on your card. So this is from the traditional labels dies, and this is my favorite ones. So I used the same kind of color scheme. So I cut out a red one and had that. And then of course I had my little snowman. I've got a snowman here and put him on top. So let me show you how this turned out. So cute, right? So I just did the exact same, and then I added a little bit of twine behind him there. And then I didn't want things to be fussy or complicated, but I find the sentiments, they're more sized for tags, not for cards. And so my go-to this season for sure is the Greetings for You ephemera pack, right? Where you get all these sentiments and they're actually stickers. And so you can choose whichever one you want, and you can just peel the backing off. I kind of did a mix of the backing and dimensionals to kind of make them level. So I put the red on with dimensionals, the twine, I put the snowman on with dimensionals, and then I put the little Mary and Bright, and of course my little peppermints, the same 3 there. And I was thinking it might be fun, you could add a wink of Stella to this too, and that would look really good. So that's the snowman one. Then for the elf, same thing, right? So we're going to build up your white and then your, oops, no, your green for your little elf. And so same thing, stamp your tree as the background in a random stamp, same thing that you did with the take. And then I used Pool Party like I did here and created a little background. And then the sentiment, so this one's really tiny, so it kind of worked to the side of the snowman, but the bigger ones looked better underneath. So let's show you the completed card for this guy. Isn't he cute? So on the Pool Party, so this time I did the twine kind of behind. So I just looped it. It's just like when you loop it back and forth, like you're doing a bow without actually tying a bow, right? So you just make a loop, if that makes sense. And then you cut it, and then I just put like a glue dot in the center, and that's easier than tying a real bow. So, and then I did Tis the Season under there with the ephemera. And then last but not least, Santa Claus. So we've got our real red, same thing. Create your background with your Santa stamp, just tone on tone with real red. And then I did the same kind of layout as with the elf. So we can kind of see the Santa in the background. We got our shaded spruce label piece. And this time I had that Merry Christmas, but it was actually one whole thing. If you remember seeing that just now, I'll pull it back out again. But it will just seem too long. We could have put it underneath just like the elf, but I thought, oh, I could just cut that up too. So I just cut that and then could stagger it a little bit. So there are our little matching cards. You can see I used the exact same color, the exact same ideas. All I really tweaked was adding the label piece to just give them something to sit on and then use your ephemera pack for your sentiments. And that's it. So I hope you liked these ideas for the Festive Friends bundle. I mean, it is so cute. Did you know that you can even just get this bundle and then that's like the value of a starter kit right now? So if you love Stampin' Up, check out the starter kit. It's such a crazy deal. I'm also sending free card kits in Canada to anybody who places a $50 or $75 order. So you can always check that out. All my details are always on my website, loritamariecrafts.ca. And I'll be back next week, of course, with some more fun projects to help you guys get crafting too. And so I hope you guys have a great week. And if you're Canadian, happy Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to my own Thanksgiving dinner with my family this weekend. And so I'm just grateful for all of you guys in this crafty community. So thanks so much. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.